Hope y'all doing okay today. What a week. So, today's been a weird day for me. I'm going to go with my wife shortly up to my sister-in-law's house to go visit my latest nephew. And I just got done burying a friend, so really weird. Guy was a World War II veteran, in the Army for 26 years, something like that. POW in Germany, tanker, went over to Korea. Fantastic old man, 96 years old, always stayed busy, was always up to something. Anyway, it's not what was on my mind. So, yesterday, I took a day off, which I don't get to do, and my wife was busy, my kids were busy, so I had the day off to me, and I went, hung out with a friend. We went someplace we've been wanting to go for a minute, mutual interest, all that stuff. Went and grabbed lunch, come back home. Had a good day, just kind of a guy's day trip. Good times. Well, where I'm going now, we're going to start off, we talked about all sorts of stuff on the way up there, politically, interests, things that we want to do later in life, blah, 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 on and on and on and on and on. Well, we got talking about things in politics, and he and I don't necessarily agree on politics, but we agree in a lot of the common fixes. He's definitely more Democrat than I am. I'm definitely more Republican than he is. He was very anti-Trump. But anyway, that's not what I'm going somewhere with this specifically, and I don't want to, I'm not throwing shade, but I just don't necessarily agree with the line of thinking. So, one of the things that we got talking about is I think that if a news organization has to do a correction, that it ought to lead. That it's not that they don't go and just update an old story on the internet, or that they don't bury it at like the 12 o'clock news, AM, 12 in the morning, and that it doesn't get printed, the back page of the newspaper, whatever. That it leads, that the corrections lead. He agreed with that. I said, and here's kind of why I come to that, and I went through the whole Nick Sandmann thing. And that started a whole other discussion. Now, bear in mind, we were being very polite and cordial. Different friend from the one I spoke about the other day. But he said Nick Sandmann knew what he was doing. And he said, I know someone that used to go to a school that it was in their district of competition, and they were punk kids and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, that's, kind of second, third hand information, but I'll take your word for it that you heard that. But I don't necessarily agree with this person's assessment. I've never met him. And but anyway, he said that Nick Sandmann and the Marjorie Taylor Stoneman Douglas, Covington Catholic children knew what they were doing, showing up wearing MAGA hats, and that they were going to cause something to pop off and blah, blah, blah. And I have an issue with that. Okay, as an example, when you go to D.C. to protest, you're going to run into everybody of every political affiliation and belief in D.C., because everybody's got, apparently there's enough from every affiliation that have the time and the money to go to D.C. to protest something. Apparently. I don't know, I've never had had the money to go to DC and protest, but you get my point. So I don't understand how a piece of apparel is instigating something. If you're that thin-skinned where someone with a differing opinion sets off a mob and starts all that happened, I think the problem's you, not the other person. And I want to tell you something that I seen the other day. This would have been about 3-4 weeks ago. Family and I went to go watch a movie, Boss Baby 2. And I get to watch too many kids movies because I have kids. It was funny, there was humor in it, not my flavor in movies though. So anyway, we go to watch the movie, we're walking out, and there's a man that was up in front of us. He held the door for my wife, my mother, that was with us, and my children. On one calf, he had a SS tattoo, and then on the other calf, he had a swastika. Now, I find those, I think it would be, even if you find Donald Trump to be highly offensive, and from a personality perspective, sure, he's definitely offensive. I don't disagree with a lot of his policies, but he's a very abrasive, offensive. I'll say it because I can, and it ticks off the media. I think that most people would agree that Make America Great Again is a number of magnitude less offensive than Heil Hitler, blame the Jews, and kill everybody that's a different ethnicity or enslave them. My opinion, I think that, and you know, you can find things offensive about people. Case in point, I find Joe Biden sniffing women's hair and girls' hair very offensive. Doesn't mean I want to get up in his face or bust his jaw or anything like that. And if he did that, I would probably just say, Mr. President, please don't sniff my child. Speaking of, my daughter made a joke about Joe Biden. We were watching the news at the house one day, and my youngest daughter seen Joe Biden on TV, okay? And she says, he sniffs kids, doesn't he? Yeah. If we ever meet him, I'm putting garlic in my hair so he won't sniff my hair. She's 6. I didn't put her up to that. I try to refrain from talking about that kind of stuff in front of my children. She came up with that on her own. I'm raising a stand-up comic. So, anyway, I just think that everybody's looking for a reason to be offended. And some people are not good at being offended. You know, I get offended all the time. I hear some of the crap that people at work are talking about that I don't want to hear about. So I tune them out. I listen to my podcasts. I listen to music that I enjoy. Whatever. Case in point, one of the guys at work, there's these, we buy the big Bluetooth karaoke party box speakers. Bring them into work. Every once in a while, drag one of them out, let people listen to music on the line and whatnot. Well, this one guy got a hold of it, and he goes straight to the most offensive rap song of last year by Cardi B. Not going to repeat the name of it. So anyway, I don't get up in his face, I don't yell at him, I don't anything, I just give him a little static, like, do you really got to listen to that crap? He goes, yes I do. Okay, and then I put in earplugs and tuned him out. Life went on. And it doesn't even have to be offensive. There's just music that I don't like. I like a little bit of everything, but I'm not a big fan of most of everything. As a case in point, I like a lot of country music. I dislike a lot of country music. I like a lot of pop. I dislike way more pop than I dislike the country music I dislike. It goes on and on and on. I don't bother getting upset about it. I tune it out, listen to what I want to listen to, do what I want to do while I'm at work. it's very easy for me to live at peace with those around me in a public situation, because I don't want to start nothing. I'll finish it, but I don't want to start nothing. I have finished it a couple times when they start it. So that's what I got. Cuts people slack. Let those you disagree with have their point of view. You can agree to disagree. You can tell them, I think you're stupid. I'd love to sit down and talk with you. You might learn something. They might learn something. You might both come toward the middle. Change my mind style. You might both decide that you hate each other's guts. But hey, you sat down and had a great chat. So long as you can agree to not name call. I think that's fantastic. One of my favorite pictures, absolute favorite pictures of the 2020 election season wasn't a sea of MAGA hats or a sea of Biden shirts or anything like that. My absolute favorite picture of the 2020 election season was a guy, a teenage boy, carrying a Trump flag, and an older gentleman carrying a Biden flag. They were they had walked out. It just happened this way. They had walked out to the same street corner at the same time, and they walked up there and they were shaking each other's hands, talking to each other. Great photo. That is what America's about. It's not about strict partisan politics. You know, I voted Republican, let me think, in 3 elections, and I voted Libertarian in 1 election. And guess what? I hate a bunch of Republicans. And guess what? I hate a bunch of Democrats. So, well, hate's a strong word, but I strongly disagree with their policies, Republican and Democrat. I strongly disagree with who they are as people, Republican and Democrat. So it's not partisan politics. It's realizing that people got a right to believe what they believe. You can talk to them politely. You can try to change their mind politely, but live and let live. Just because you're offended doesn't give you the right to call them everything under the sun, get up in their face, blast their name all over media, get them to lose college scholarship opportunities, and on and on and on and on. Talk to them. You might learn something. You might change your point of view. You might change their point of view. That's what I got. Thanks for tuning in. Catch y'all next time. I'm out.